100 million people have no retirement? Ah, we're all going to die, says Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. 100 million Americans have no retirement. Oh my goodness. I like Zero Hedge, but this is just clickbait porn crap or fear-mongering porn. And Zero Hedge tends to do this. All right, so let's read this. December 26, 2020. Even before the virus-induced downturn wiped out the savings of tens of millions of Americans, more than 100 million folks throughout the country had nothing saved for retirement. Called the retirement crisis. The assumption today is that Americans are in deep financial despair. It was in 2018 when we informed readers that more than 100 million Americans of working age did not have any retirement account assets, an employer-sponsored plan, an individual account, or a pension. All right, so let's just look at this real quick. So if we go to, this is U.S. Court of the Kaiser Family Foundation. And in the U.S., we got 16.5% of the population is over 65 years old, not working age. And that's about 35% or so who are under the age of 26. So basically 50% of the Americans are not working age, if that makes sense. All right, so we take a country of 350 million people. 50% of the population is not of working age. That's what, 175 million people. So what the guys at Zero Hedge are saying is that of those 175 million people who are working age, 100 million have no retirement plan whatsoever. We know that's not true because we all have Social Security, and that's just a fact. You pay 6.2% into Social Security, thus you have a retirement plan. Social Security, if you have a W-2, 1099, you are paying Social Security taxes, payroll tax, you have a retirement plan. Now, you might not take it as a lump sum, but you have a retirement plan. So it's stupid to say there's no retirement plan. Do we truly believe that 100 million Americans don't have anything set aside for retirement or any kind of account out there, a bank account? I don't. I don't believe that at all. I mean, are there a number of Americans that don't? Yeah, maybe. Do a number of Americans have access to credit? Sure. Do a number of Americans don't? Yeah, maybe. Well, it sucks, man. I mean, that's the nature of any kind of economic system. You have some people who aren't set up well. You have a lot of people who are. In our system, the majority of Americans are set up quite nicely because of forced savings a la Social Security and because of their own incentives through work and whatnot, the 401k. So, be it as it may, this article right here, 100 million Americans have no retirement. That's just, again, fear-mongering porn there. This means that the American dream of a modest retirement after decades of work is now a middle-class nightmare. That's simply fake. It's not true. Modest retirement after decades of work, you have Social Security. That is just a fact. And most likely, you're not going to have a home that's a mortgage. And most likely, if all you got is Social Security, you have no income tax. This is just freaking fear porn. I hate it, man. Making sense of all this is old Kevin O'Leary, star of Shark Tank. He spoke with somebody about the retirement crisis, all right? I think you've hit a huge issue in America today. There are 100 million people that have nothing set aside for retirement. That's not true. I just told you. If you work, you have something set aside for retirement. They have no investment account, and that is a failure of financial literacy that started back in the 1970s. Well, that doesn't make any sense because you're saying people were financially literate back in the 1960s and 50s? No, they weren't. They had no investment accounts back then either. In fact, I could guarantee you they had less investment accounts back then than they do now. Why? Because buying and selling individual stocks, mutual funds was a rich man's game. The vast majority of people had nothing like that. But they all had pensions. I already told you that's fake news. They did not all have pensions. I've said it a million times a Sunday in my book, You Can Retire on Social Security, which is around here someplace. I showed you the proof of that. It's just silly. We never taught kids in high school. We teach them reading, math, jobs, and sex education. I would question, do we really teach them reading, math, and jobs? Nothing about investing, nothing about debt or credit cards. Do you really want some of these teachers to teach people about money when they're the ones who have the biggest money problems? I don't. We really need to change the curriculum in high school. No, we don't. The state of Florida has brought to the curriculum is mandatory. We need to see that in New York, Texas, Florida. I don't. No, we don't. Expanding more on why educational systems nationwide at the high school level need to include classes of financial planning. We noted a couple months ago that financial education classes decreases the likelihood of holding credit card balances. Maybe financial elites keeping the population in perpetual financial days while they rack up a credit card is just part of the American way. I don't have any qualm with that. That completely makes sense to me. Just going back to what my man in the politically incorrect guide to the Civil War, what my man General Sheridan said about, if I can find it, 1 second. Let me pause it real quick. Oh, right here. Phil Sheridan's maxim of war. The only good Confederate is an impoverished Confederate. Death is popularly considered to be the maximum of punishment in war, but it is not. Reduction to poverty brings prayers for peace more surely and more quickly than does the destruction of human life, i.e., a poverty-stricken population would adhere to the tyrants more so than death would, because death is over. Poverty is perpetual. Keep that in mind. It's just fear porn, man. All right, we'll see you. Love to hear your comments.